This is Ordinary Scholar speaking to you from the world's first COMAC C919.
Good day, frequent flyers from Chengdu, the capital of the Sichuan province, where I will be departing for Shanghai on board China Eastern's C919. I arrived at Chengdu Airport following an hour-long ride, and while the terminal is still as fresh as it was when it opened 2 years ago, I certainly don't appreciate the unnecessarily long distance from downtown. Having already spent over an hour on the road, I quickly made my way to China Eastern's priority counter and received my boarding pass with a window seat in the bulkhead row.
Now, Chengdu is an airport I wouldn't otherwise want to visit if it weren't for today's special aircraft.
Chengdu's two airports became China's busiest in 2022, and Chengdu is perhaps one of the few mega airports in China that lives up to its design capacity.
That was quite remarkable. There was literally an exhibition hall of Sichuan Airlines here at Chengdu Airport.
With about an hour left until boarding, I visited China Eastern's very own lounge here at Chengdu. The decor of the space blends nicely into the panda heritage of Sichuan province. This wood-adorned area with semi-private seating is probably my favorite corner in this lounge. There is even a landscaping installation art with flowing water. The zen ambience in this lounge perfectly insulates the busy terminal, and at the same time the details within the design is elevating the travel experience in minute but powerful ways. As unnecessary as it may be, there is even a shelf, or library I shall say, where you may borrow books from. Having been in the United States for a third of my life, I can't allow myself to miss the luxury of having hot meals on domestic flights. China Eastern Lounge operates 3 buffet-style meals a day, with the airline's signature MU noodle being a 24/7 noodle bar. An authentic and bulky Sichuan dandan mian is shortly presented.
Now, it's time to check out the C919.
You would be very confused to see all these crowds on a random weekend, all the while the macroeconomic statistics are looking increasingly pessimistic here in China. Chengdu Airport is a destination within itself. You really feel being inside a commercial complex as opposed to being at an airport. Today's protagonist is already parked at the gate when I arrived, a brand new COMAC C919 that commenced passenger operation at the end of May. Our flight to Shanghai today will be operated by Bravo 919 Alpha, the the world's first C919 ever produced and delivered. On the outside, the fuselage and the wing looks very similar to the Airbus A220. Now, let's check out the cabin and see what kind of flight experience this China's most advanced passenger jet offers. The cabin interior of the C919 is in a standard configuration, one that you will find on other narrow-body medium-haul aircraft with 2 rows of business class recliners and 156 economy class seats. From the moment I boarded the aircraft, I was immediately immersed in a celebratory atmosphere, with just about every corner of the plane featuring the special logo for the world's first C919. The new recliners with added shell around the headrest on this aircraft is manufactured by the French company Safran, who also supplied the galley equipment to COMAC. The cabin on the 919 doesn't feel as height restricted compared to COMAC's previous ARJ21. From a passenger point of view, I can barely sense any difference between this aircraft and an Airbus narrowbody. An introduction of the food and beverage program on today's 2-hour flight to Shanghai ensued shortly after I was seated. The seat control for business class is not electronically powered, but there was ample storage spaces built into the armrest, with both one USB and traditional plug-in power outlet per passenger. Service is always attentive on China Eastern. While they may not be as professional when compared with some of the 5-star carriers, the service culture in China ensures that the flight attendants will do whatever possible to fulfill a passenger's request. The CFM supplied engine was powered as we began pushing back from the gate. After what was a very ordinary takeoff, we began making our eastbound journey to Shanghai. Chengdu to Shanghai is one of China Eastern's premium routes, so a full launch service is scheduled. Now it is the time for the orchestra to begin. F&B is never something to look forward to on a Chinese carrier, but considering this is a 2 hours domestic flight, I am nonetheless very impressed with the portion and the quality of ingredients served. I mean, you will probably end up with a 2,000 calories package sandwich that gives you a heart attack if this were on American Airlines. Economy cabin was very full on the flight, and I hopped into one of the unoccupied seats, finding it to be perfectly comfortable to the extent expected on a maiden-hull aircraft. Making my way back to the front galley, I was presented with a gift bag full of souvenirs commemorating the world's first C919 aircraft. This, along with a cup of Longjing green tea, perfectly encapsulates today's flight on board the world's first China-made commercial airliner. It is unfortunate that personal entertainment is not installed in first class, but at least China Eastern made the effort to provide a 20th century entertainment, or instead a beautifully choreographed video showcasing COMAC. This brief 2 hours flight on China's most advanced passenger jet felt just like any other Airbus or Boeing-made single-aisle aircraft with appropriate seat and cabin amenities for a regional flight. There isn't much breakthrough with C919 in terms of advancing the commercial aviation industry, given many of the aircraft's performance indicators such as fuel efficiency remains murky to this date. But the symbolism of this aircraft transcends any economic considerations, as C919 further cements China as a manufacturing superpower. After all, there is a number one for everything, and the Airbus and Boeing duopoly is not going to last forever. Thank you for watching this Wandering Scholar video. It has been a pleasure, and I can't wait for our next departure.